right now on 12 News at 10.
If your child is graduating from a Mesa high school this week, you're going to want to show up to the ceremony a little bit earlier than expected. We'll tell you why coming up.
A midwife who oversaw a home birth where the mother and baby both died, now at risk of losing her license. Why families who worked with her say they want the state held accountable too.
There is a great need for more family child care providers.
As the cost of child care skyrockets across the state, how Arizona is working to give more families access to high-quality care.
Temperatures will be staying in the 90s for now, but things start to heat up this holiday weekend. I'll have the temperature breakdown coming up in your full forecast.
12 News at 10 with Mark Curtis and Caribe Divine starts now.
Good evening. We begin with breaking news in Phoenix, where a child has been rushed to the hospital after being pulled out of a backyard pool. Sky 12 over the scene of a home near 75th Avenue and Indian School, where Phoenix Fire responded about 8:30 this evening. Officials say a 2-year-old boy was found in the pool unconscious and not breathing. People at the home started CPR before first responders arrived. The child was then taken to the hospital in extremely critical condition. Here's a live look at the scene right now as police continue to investigate what happened. It's unclear how long the child was in the water, which is part of the ongoing investigation. We are staying in contact with police and we'll keep you updated as we learn more. Tonight, we're getting fresh insight into a new high-tech effort to stop kids from bringing weapons into Mesa schools. Good evening and thanks for joining us for 12 News at 10, everyone. I'm Mark Curtis. Caribe has the night off. Now, this all comes as schools get ready to host graduation ceremonies. 12 News journalist Chase Golightly is live in Mesa tonight to explain how these devices work and the big change that's coming to those ceremonies. Chase?
Mark, the district actually just rolled out these weapon detection devices at all of its high schools here in Mesa. And here at Mesa High, on the first day it was active, it actually caught a student trying to bring a gun onto the campus. Before you watch your high school graduate walk across the stage to get their diploma, you'll have to walk through one of these.
We just want to prevent guns and knives from coming into our campuses and into the graduation ceremony.
It's a weapons detection system. Alan Moore, the director of school safety and security at Mesa Public Schools, says it will be implemented at all 6 high school graduations.
They will pick up larger knives and, of course, any firearms of any kind.
People simply walk between the sensors that detects any metals associated with weapons. If it does pick something up, it immediately alerts school staff.
They are certified not to affect any kind of medical devices, so you don't have to worry about them going through. They're a lot less intense than TSA.
While this is new at graduations, students have already been going through them for the past few weeks on campus.
This is just one added layer of security to try to make our schools safe places to learn.
And parents are for it.
I'm fine with whatever's going to keep my kids safe.
A little bit more safe for the kids that are going to school that don't know what the next kid may be carrying.
Especially when they learned one of these devices at Mesa High School actually caught a student with a gun.
I am so appalled because this should not be happening.
Mesa police arrested 18-year-old Joseph Coops. Police say they found a pistol with a file-down serial number and 2 loaded magazines in his backpack. Coops reportedly told police that he's been bringing a gun to school nearly every day.
Nothing should get in here, not just a gun, but a knife, brass knuckles.
While some students complained about the long lines when trying to get to class, parents still say it's worth it.
We need to protect our children because if you're not safe in school, where are you going to be safe at?
And Chase, even though these weapon detection systems were only recently implemented, have they prevented any other weapons from getting on campus?
Mark Moore told me that they've only located that one firearm that we mentioned. He did say that they also confiscated what he called large scissors that students had in their backpacks. He said that they took them away and gave them back to him after classes ended. He said it was nothing too serious. But he also told me that the district plans on implementing these same weapon devices at all junior highs at Mesa Public Schools starting this upcoming fall. We're live in Mesa. Chase Golightly, 12 News.
Chase, thanks. Developing tonight in Phoenix, police are investigating a crash that left 2 people seriously hurt. It happened late this afternoon near 25th Avenue and Van Buren. Police say when they got to the scene, the two drivers involved had to be rushed to the hospital. We're told both drivers are dealing with life-threatening injuries tonight. The investigation shut down Van Buren between 25th and 26th Avenue, but sections of the road are starting to reopen tonight. Also tonight, two wildfires continue to burn in Arizona. The Wildcat Fire is burning in far north Scottsdale, north of Rio Verde and east of Carefree. And hopefully you didn't have any weekend plans up there, because officials are asking everyone to stay away for the safety of the firefighters. The fire, which has burned over 14,000 acres at this point, is now 56% contained. Road closures are still in effect as 200 firefighters continue to work this blaze. We're told the cause of the fire is under investigation. Meanwhile, crews made significant progress this afternoon on the Pine Brook fire, which is burning in the cactus forest just south of Florence. Sky 12 was up over the scene, and as you can see, several structures burned to the ground. According to the Pinal County Sheriff's Office, people living in the area were briefly evacuated because of the danger. They have since been allowed to go back home. 12 News is dedicated to keeping you informed throughout the wildfire season. For more details on any fires burning across the state, you can scan the QR code on the right side of your screen. That'll take you to a page with all the latest information, or you can also head to 12news.com/wildfires. Today, an Arizona midwife who oversaw a home birth where both the mother and infant died back in December met with state health officials. Following those tragic deaths, the state determined the midwife failed to properly monitor their vital signs and did not follow her required emergency plan. Tonight, the I-Team's Bianca Bona reports that families who worked with that midwife want her license revoked and want the regulators who allowed her to practice to be held accountable.
I had had a hospital birth with my first daughter, really wanted a sense of more control.
So in 2020, Heather Flowers opted for a home birth, working with midwife Sarah Kankowitz.
I trusted her. She's supposed to be the professional, and it just wasn't the case.
Flowers' baby was 11 pounds, and she had an extreme laceration. Her birth was botched.
There's not one day that goes by where I don't suffer some form of a consequence.
Flowers filed a complaint against Kankowitz with the state's Department of Health Services. An investigation found multiple citations. The midwife didn't check vital signs enough, downplayed Flowers' laceration, and didn't take her to the hospital when she was supposed to. Flowers' complaint would be the first, but not the last.
Why are we allowing this to happen?
After Kankowitz received multiple civil penalties for failing to submit required paperwork for more than a dozen patients, in which the state gave her huge financial breaks, another complaint resulting in citations came in 2023, and in December, tragedy struck.
There was no blood pressure check, no oxygen level, no anything.
Parker Terry's pregnant wife Jordan and their newborn baby boy Mac both died after a home birth that Kankowitz oversaw. Records again show Kankowitz failed to do necessary vital checks and didn't enact her emergency plan in time, even after Jordan's lips turned blue. Parker himself ended up rushing his wife and baby to the hospital, but they didn't survive. Jordan had a uterine rupture.
The processes in which you research a midwife are incredibly difficult.
The complaint stemming from Jordan and Mac's deaths resulted in 5 citations, but the state's documents don't tell that full story. If a future family read the report, they would never know that they died.
Do you believe that there should be more transparency when it comes to the information that's publicly available to families?
Well, of course.
Will Humble is the former ADHS director. He was with the department when they expanded the scope of practice for midwives, allowing them to perform VBAC home births, a vaginal birth after a cesarean section. They're considered higher risk, so he said they established strict criteria for midwives, criteria Kankowitz did not adhere to in Jordan Terry's case.
If the state agency isn't doing a good job overseeing the midwives, those risks go from manageable to really, really bad.
In March, the state issued a notice of intent to revoke Kankowitz's license. She's been allowed to practice since, even posting online suggesting she will continue her practice privately. On Wednesday, she and the state had a settlement conference, but a DHS spokesperson declined to share the results of that meeting, only saying they are in talks about potential settlement terms.
What goes through your mind when you learn there were people that were trying to alert the state about
Sarah in her practice years prior to your interaction with her.
That if the state would have taken him serious, that my wife would still be here.
And we have repeatedly asked DHS why Kankowitz's license was not revoked previously. We've also requested a sit-down interview. That request has been denied. Bianca Bono, 12 News.
All right, Bianca. A big day at the state capitol where the Senate approved a bill tied to the southern border. The Republican plan, which if approved would go to voters in November, would give police the power to arrest people crossing the border. After more than 3 hours of debate, the Senate passed H.C.R. 2060 along party lines. Democratic senators argued the resolution would expose all migrants to arrest, with several lawmakers comparing it to SB 1070. You may remember that was the 2010 Arizona immigration law that ultimately was struck down by the U.S. Supreme Court. The resolution now heads to the House, where it will likely be taken up June 4th. If it passes in the House, voters will then have the final say on the resolution when they head to the polls in November.